Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of Stop, Look, and Listen. I'm your host, LeTroy Gardner. This week, we have a special guest. She's breaking barriers all over the place. I mean, she's been a choreographer. She's a best-selling author, um, dominating the speaker circuit. Um, I'm hearing rumblings about a supermarket as well. We have the founder and CEO of Think Like a Boss, the ecosystem. We have Alexandra Bernard-Simmons. Welcome to the show, Alexandra.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for the great introduction.
Oh, sure. Had to do it twice. Secret, but it's all good. But yeah, great to have you. Just give us a biographical snapshot into the life and times of Alexandra Bernard-Simmons.
Absolutely. So, like you said, I'm the founder of Think Like a Boss. Think Like a Boss is an international award winning woman empowerment and community movement. So, one thing that I believe is every Black and Brown community is my community. So, we have traveled all around the world. Speaking, doing events, we do retreats for women that go all around the world. We had a podcast as well and a TV show, a best-selling book. So I try to reach people the best way that I can through different mediums because, ain't no excuse of you not hearing me, okay? So I am in front of your TV. I'm on this podcast. I just feel like there's a message to be told. Our communities need inspiration. We need to hear good stories. We need to see success stories from people that look like us. So that's why it's so important for me to do the work that I do.
Right. Did you feel like those resources were available to you as a young lady growing up? And just talk about the importance of giving back and mentoring these young women that's coming up nowadays.
I think the main thing is I became the woman that I needed when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think, I grew into that person that I wish that I had. So, my parents are amazing. They're very hardworking, Caribbean parents. But, Caribbean parents are very black and white when it comes to work. It's like you go to work, you make the money, and, you take care of your family. So sometimes there weren't that much space for creative endeavors, which is something that, Think Like a Boss really does for me. My first business, the Evolution of Hip Hop, which was a dance school, it put me into my creative side, right? And there were no resources. I'm a Bronx girl, Bronx, New York girl. It's just gotta make it out, and then from there, gotta make it out the hood, and then from
Yeah.
there it's just like moving to Jersey. Again, just very academic focus. I played sports. The first thing that I noticed was your Kobe, memorabilia in the back, and got excited for you. I
Oh
love
yeah.
me some Kobe. I was a basketball player, so
Mm-hmm.
I played sports. So I wasn't really into the different type of things that I'm in now. It's really just was about me finding who I was and understanding how I wanted to show up authentically in this world, and it is through Think Like a Boss.
Right. Um, what was your first love then?
My first love was basketball. My first love, well, it was dance. I can't hold you. It was dance. It was dance.
Right.
But as far as what I gave my life to at the time, if you're an athlete, it's you eat, sleep, and basketball. Like that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So for a long period of time, like in high school, I didn't get best dressed. I didn't get most popular. I didn't get what most talkative. I got most athletic. Like I was an athlete through and through. I played three sports, so I was really focused in the sports world. I got a letter to play overseas in Greece, my senior year. So that's just to show how serious I was into the sports. But believe it or not, being an athlete gives you a whole different mindset. I know you laughing. It makes you a beast. It makes you a beast in so many different ways. And I don't think people really understand how these skills are transferable.
Right. Yeah, as far as being coachable, being disciplined, as
Yeah.
far as sometimes having to wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to get a workout in before
Yes.
practice or before school,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
teamwork, knowing how to adapt to personnel. Like there's a lot of transferable skills that you attribute from sports.
A lot
So
of
I agree.
transferable skills as an athlete and even as a ball player. I was a point guard, right?
Hmm.
I was a point guard. So imagine like now using that ideology in business, right? Who do I get to pass the ball to? Who can I pass the ball that I know is going to score? Right now, it's like looking at the court, looking down the court, having that IQ. What move should I make next? Should I take it or should I pass it? Right?
Hmm.
Who is my starting five? Who are the five people that I can trust in a business, right? So that's why I said a lot of these skills are transferable. So I just love bringing sports into the conversation because that's a big part of who I am, and I'm still very active as a person. I'm a martial artist now. Once you're an athlete, you're always an athlete. So I'm a martial artist, and I'm still a dancer. So yeah.
Hmm. Great. Um, you also call yourself a professional dream chaser. Um,
Yes.
what does that
Yes.
what does that look like on a daily basis for you?
A professional dream chaser, and what that looks like on a daily basis, is literally showing up for yourself. I think people forget that one of the main things that you can do for yourself and the success for your business is just showing up. So if I'm going to chase my dreams, that means I'm not going to make excuses when it's time for me to get up to go to a networking event, when it's time for me to, set these goals in order to get to the end result, right? It's all about that discipline in chasing the dream. Because sometimes the dream doesn't want to slow down.
Hmm.
Sometimes it gets further and further, right? And you have to really adapt to that and understand that becoming a professional dream chaser is getting shit done, following through, and showing up.
Right. So I'm just gonna, I guess, continue on this dream chaser and kind of quote Meek Mill,
Mm.
who has like a famous Dream Chasers series. Um, has dreams ever become nightmares?
Ooh, that's a good question. Has dreams ever become nightmares? That's a great question. And I want to say yes. I want to say yes.
Uh huh.
And the only reason why I say that is because the entertainment industry is really, you know, um, and the only reason why I say in some instances I can see how dream becomes nightmares, because for me, I'm not walking into no one's nightmare. You're not going to turn my dream into a nightmare. That's another thing. Sometimes it has to be your choice whether or not your dream is going to turn into a nightmare. So I remember when I was on tour as a dancer, right? And it was, for a big artist at the time. And, the dancers, the choreographers, like the leaders of the whole organization was like, hey, we're having a hotel party. We want you to come through. And I'm just like, okay, who's going to be at the hotel party? Come to find out, it's going to be four of us. My boy, that's not a hotel party. That's not a hotel
Hmm.
party, right? That's something probably inappropriate that you are used to doing in the entertainment industry. And I had to say no. I said no. The day after I said no, I got fired from that job.
Hmm.
I got fired, right? So in that instance, my dream could have started turning into a nightmare, but I chose integrity. I chose integrity. And that's why, even though sometimes I understand that question, we are still in control. We're still the architects of our lives. So no one has the power to turn my dream into a nightmare.
Right. And that's an excellent answer. And I think, which is the importance of, a think like a boss is when women are chasing their dreams and they finally feel like they're being noticed by the right people.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes they feel like they have to sacrifice that integrity or else
Mm-hmm.
they're going to miss out on that shot or that big break. And I think you're a shining example of it doesn't matter. Like if you have the talent, even if this opportunity, the door is closed, other doors will open. So yeah, definitely speak on why young ladies should always move with integrity.
Integrity is the road that you can take that you will never get lost, right? And I think the goal here is not to lose ourselves within the dream and making sure that we're anchored in who we are. Because that anchor is what's going to keep us safe in those waters when things start to get unsafe and things start to get wild. Um, and, I've been faced with that, decision multiple times. There was a moment where I was asked to be on a reality TV show. And this was the pinnacle of my career, doing well as a hip hop choreographer and dancer. And, there was a show that was based on, hip hop. And the show was very degrading to women. Very degrading to women. So I really had to make a decision like, yeah, this could be my big break, but I will be breaking myself. Right? I will be breaking what I'm trying to build with Think Like a Boss. So, when you, again, think about your why and think about your anchor, it should be easy for you to make the right decisions for you.
Good, good. All right. So before we like really dig into Think Like a Boss,
Mm-hmm.
just give us a rundown of some of the work you did as a choreographer and how you pivoted from choreography into um, that brand building mentality.
Absolutely. So, as a choreographer and a dancer, I have been able to work in so many amazing spaces from Madison Square Garden to doing shows at Radio City Music Hall. Been able to work with Busta Rhymes and Ludacris. I was able to work with Snoop Dogg for the BET Hip Hop Awards. It's just so much fun, so much fun. I was in also the Step Up 3 movie, which was shot in New York, so that was fun as well. And the thing about the evolution of hip hop was passion. Dance is passion, and I always say follow your passions, follow your dreams. They'll show you the way. But the pivot was passion that turns into purpose. So me figuring out business, me becoming a dancer, a professional dancer that went on tour that had no professional training. Like that's dreams right there. That's magic right there. And being able to start a business in New York City and have it be successful and then have multiple locations, that's boss. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how can I teach that? That's where purpose came in. That's how Think Like a Boss came in. Because it's like a lot of people are struggling with business, right? I didn't have anybody to teach me. I had to fail my way into success. So that's another thing. So that's where the pivot came in. How can I help my community? How can I show you how it's done? This success is not just for me, right? I can, if I learn, I teach. So that's the biggest thing about me. So that's where the pivot came in. It came in out of love. Like, how can I teach my community what I have done?
Mm-hmm. So you said you had to fail a lot. Like, w- did you have anybody that you could go to just to like kind of point you in the right direction and kind of help you get your footing, or you just continued to bump your head and then eventually you was like, you know what, I got this. Like, how did you stay motivated throughout that
So
process?
yeah, so that's a great question. Did I have anybody? No. That's why I always say I grew into the person that I needed as a teen, as a young adult, and as a business owner. Right. That's why I use all my mistakes and turn them into stepping stones and turn them into lessons so I can teach the next person. Like that's what the Think Like a Boss book is. Like the Think
Mm-hmm.
Like a Boss workbook, for example, that I wrote is literally, okay, this is how you do this. This is how you apply this. I messed up here. This is how you do not. And when I say failed my way to success, when I first started the evolution of hip hop, baby, that thing was failing. It was not, it
Mm-hmm.
was not doing well. It was because, again, I love hip hop, right? I love everything about hip hop. I love the 5 pillars of hip hop. I think that at that time, I thought that it was so important for me to share the hip hop history,
Mm-hmm.
including dance, because we know the 5 pillars. We know there's dancing, beatboxing, lyricism, graffiti, so I
Right.
wanted to try to put everything in one school, and no one cares. like at the end of the day, no one cares. So I had all these resources. I hired all these teachers, to come teach these things, and no one cared. And I just realized, like, the universal language is always going to be dance, it's always going to be music. So that's when I kind of just went back and just was like, okay, I'm a dancer, so let me just focus on that part of hip hop, which is dance. And from there, I created the hip hop dance birthday parties. We were the first ones that were doing that. And creating hip hop dance birthday parties for families allowed dance and the hip hop culture to be available to everyone. Mm-hmm. And that's what made us blow up. We were having like 7 or 8 parties a day on the weekend. It was crazy. And again, I had to learn from that. In order for me to stay disciplined, it goes back to, again, what is the end goal here? I am trying to be a creative. I'm trying to use all my beautiful skills that God gave me and create an amazing life for myself. I'm not trying to work for somebody else for the rest of my life. So this has to work. It's that simple. It has to work because I'm not going back there, right? I left a job that was paying me 6 figures in order to do what I was doing. So I'm not going back. So it has to work. And we have to understand that discipline is rooted in self-love. You want to love yourself so much that you can be disciplined enough to get the job done.
Mm-hmm. All right. The flywheel. I'm pretty sure your flywheel. Like everything that's encompassed within the ecosystem. Mm-hmm. Tell us about what's included in your flywheel.
So as far as my ecosystem goes and my flywheel, I think like a boss. I call it like this huge umbrella, right? Mm-hmm. It's this huge umbrella. And everything under the umbrella of Think Like a Boss is a different facet of myself, of my personality, right? So now we have, again, I've been traveling, by myself since I was 19 years old. So that's why we have the Think Like a Boss retreats. That's why we go on these amazing trips and to these amazing places. For example, in July, we're going to Egypt. We're going to Kemet, right? So we're going to have an amazing time there. In September, we're going to Bali. So that is that part of my personality. And then I am a master healer. I'm a master, I don't know if you heard about the term Reiki. I'm a master Reiki practitioner. So I do a lot of healing work. So we have healing retreats as well where I do holistic healing for women that may need help in that area. So that's there. I'm an academic, right? I'm a writer. I have a degree in education. I'm a teacher at heart. So that's where all the books come from, the books that I write. And that's where the events come from, being a teacher at heart. In addition to that, under the umbrella was also the Think Like a Boss program for teens. Me going back into schools, right? And again, just using that skill as a teacher and as a motivator to teach teens how to start their businesses and grow their businesses before they even become adults, right? Mm-hmm. I like to talk a lot, as you can see,
Nah, it's all good.
That's where
you're the typical New Yorker, Bronx.
Yeah.
I could sense that right off the bat.
Yeah, I like to talk a lot, so that's where the podcast came in. And like the TV show, I'm very impressionable. So, every part of my business is just a different part of me. And I just love being a woman. Like, I love being a woman. I think it's dope here. I love being a black woman. It's dangerous here, but, I love us. I love us. And, that's why, I get back and do what I do. So every part, every facet of me is part of the wheel, pretty much.
Right. At what point did you feel like, I'm making traction here? Everything that all of the vision and the dream chasing, like, is really like a clear path to success that I didn't envision growing up in the Bronx happening.
Right. When did I figure out I was making traction? So believe it or not, I think gratitude is a cheat code. And this is what I mean by that. So I didn't wait till I was big to celebrate, right? Mm-hmm. I remember that first customer coming through the door for Evolution of Hip Hop, and I cried. Like, I was just so happy. Like, it was like the first dollar almost that I made. It reminds me of like I don't know if you used to watch DuckTales or whatever, but Scrooge
Yeah.
McDuck used to
Woo-hoo.
have like I know that's a throwback. Scrooge McDuck used to have like his first dollar in like a case
Yeah.
that he kept in his safe. And I remember like my first customer, like I remember my first customer till this day. I remember the child's face. I remember the family. I remember, mind you, we had hundreds of customers after that, but I still remember my first customer, right? So to me, I make it big every time that something out here comes out there. Like to me, that's magic. That anytime you think something and then all of a sudden it's right in front of you, that to me is a win. That to me is magic. And I love to sit in gratitude at all the moments. So I think about the first time I did my event. You know, my event now, they may have 400 women. But that first event that I did, that had 30 people in there, and I was like, oh, she's doing it. She's doing a thing. She out here. Like, I was so happy with my 30 people. And I feel like that's when I was like, oh, this, I'm going to make it. This it. This is so it was even in the more modest times in the smaller times where I already knew this was gonna make it.
Mm-hmm. All right. So like, just tell us about the, um, the seminars, the conferences, like pulling that off for the first time. I'm sure that was a gargantuan effort, and then how it's continued to um, grow each year since then.
Absolutely. So I love how you say it was a gargantuan effort because I'm a type of person that I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna go for it. So the first time I thought about the event, it was like it probably was like a August or September, and the first event was in November. So I just had a few months to think about it and put it together. And the reason why sometimes I don't say that's always a good thing, but sometimes I move like that because I don't want to suffer from analysis paralysis. Analysis, if anybody who's listening, analysis paralysis is just you overthink something so much until you scare yourself out of it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I remember that first event, it was just like, I want to do an event. I want to do an event for women. I want to do an event for women that focuses on women issues. Like it just kept coming to me. And so a lot of our events or a lot of our conferences, we focus on the main issues that some women are going through. And some years I pick or choose different topics, but it's usually finances, right? Sometimes we talk about parenting, we talk about relationships, we talk about entrepreneurship, we talk about health and wellness and spirituality. So those are some of the main topics of our conferences. Sometimes I switch out and put some things in like self-defense classes. Again, I think that's something that's very important. So it's really issues and topics that women really want to talk about, and that's going to help them become the CEO of their lives. That's what Think Like a Boss is, right? Help you become the CEO of your life and take back control. So those are the topics that are important. So I just remember that first time, I'm like, who in my network could talk about this? Who in my network could talk about that, right? So it was now kind of me reaching on the side of me to see who I know that is well versed in these topics, and then me building my own stage. That was the
Mm-hmm.
first time I started speaking myself, sharing my story, sharing my struggles as a woman and how I got to where I was. So, that's how that first event went. And like I said, it was just 30 people. And then from there, you learn from your mistakes. I think that's something that's so important. Once you're in business, you start to learn the DNA of your business, right? That's why I always tell entrepreneurs they need to pay attention to what everything looked like year over year so you know what works and what doesn't. So now every year, did it get bigger? Yes. But it also got easier to plan because I knew what to expect. I knew what to do. I knew what lead time I needed, right? And I had such a beautiful space at St. Peter's University, which is my alma mater, right? So I had connections there. So, it just grew and got bigger and bigger just because I went for it.
Right. All right. So like tapping back into your point guard days, running a show like Magic or Jason Kidd or Stockton.
Allen
Uh,
Iverson, thank you.
Iverson. Oh well,
That's
I
that's
should have
that's
said
my
that. I
that's
should have
what
said
I'm
that.
saying. Like,
That's my favorite player too. Like
yes, okay,
I have his Georgetown and Philly jersey. So
nice,
had
nice.
I known that, I would have wore it for the interview. I mean, wow, wow. But yeah, tapping into your days running point, like just talk about. what you look for as a point guard in assembling your team with Think Like a Boss.
Absolutely. So that's a great question. One thing that I look for is I shouldn't be having to do all the work. I shouldn't be having to do all the work. I know we are. I know we love the shooting point guards now. I know Steph
Mm-hmm.
Curry revolutionized the game. And I know it started with with our AI and stuff like that. With when I say AI, Allen Iverson, y'all, because I know AI is taking over. I'm talking about Allen Iverson, right? And even Magic, we were able to watch his magic, right? But we know that the main goal of the point guard, right, was to funnel this ball out to the team. That's really what it was. So that means that if I am going to be the point, I need my forward and my power. They need to be ready on the block, right? They need to be able to catch the ball and do what they need to do with it. Same with my guards, right? So you have to have strong team members around you. You're only as strong as your weakest link.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be the point guard having to score 40 points. If I'm scoring 40 points, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Right?
Setting screens.
Okay, we can set up set screens. Yes, I get it. But this still has to be a team effort. It still has to be
Right.
a team effort. So I say all that to say I like to put people on my team that could either strengthen my weaknesses, right? So whatever
Mm-hmm.
I'm not good at, I would like to have someone on the team that is good at that. For example, I'm a visionary. So I would be like, I want to have this event and I want a unicorn hanging from out the wall with a rainbow coming out the mouth. And then so I need somebody on my team to say, Alex, how are we going to do that though? Like, okay, so this is what we would need in order to have this unicorn come from the wall with the rainbows, right? So that's a really detailed oriented person. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
for me, I like to think about the big pictures and think about the details after, right?
Right.
So it's really just having team members that can pull their weight.
Right.
Dr. Todd McClain provides periodontal and dental implant services in 2 convenient locations. They offer over a decade of experience treating patients, and appointments can even be scheduled in the evenings, weekends, or early mornings. Give them a call in Chapel Hill at 919-537-9774 or in Durham at 919-484-8338 or visit them online at gumsandimplants.org.
So speaking of being a visionary, as I mentioned in the intro,
Mm-hmm.
you're in the process of opening a grocery store.
Yes. So a Seneca Market is a vision to be the first supermarket, black-owned supermarket, to be franchised.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? To be franchised. And the reason why this endeavor is so important is because we do not play well in that space. That space does not belong to us. There's a lot of people that have, and that's the thing. I want to make sure we know the difference between like bodegas, like corner stores,
Mm-hmm.
grocery stores, and then supermarkets, right? It's all different in square footage and how much is actually in the space. So I don't want to say that there's like no black owned grocery stores, because I know there's a lot of like smaller Caribbean markets and things like that we've seen. But again, they're always just local to like that neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
And then I also do not want to ignore some of the people that may own like a ShopRite franchise that may be black owned, right? That may be a thing, but still that's ShopRite.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't ours per se. So Seneca Market would be the first of its kind to be a black-owned franchise supermarket that goes in every black and brown neighborhood, right? And within that marketplace, not only will we have just food, it will be so black in there. I mean, like every aisle, it'll be so black,
I
right?
was
So
expecting that.
yeah,
I was
every
expecting that.
aisle will just be named after somebody dope. You know what I'm saying? That's one of ours. We would probably do like food workshops and cooking and stuff in one of the kitchens. Like it is going to be like an experience, not
Mm-hmm.
just a supermarket. It's also a place where we can learn about food, learn about growing things properly. There's going to be a garden on the roof as well. So just in case that, we want to do community gardening and things like that, we really need to educate our people about food. We don't understand that a lot of the food is killing us. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, during COVID, that's when I got the idea, right? During COVID, all our black and brown businesses was struggling. Walmart and all of them, no.
Thriving,
baby. Because they got the space. They in the space. We don't play in that space. We're going there buying up all the toilet paper, right? And the thing about Seneca Market is we're going to source black-owned first. So who is the black-owned toilet tissue company? Who is the black-owned toothpaste company? Who's the black-owned bread company? We're going to go to them first. If we can't find enough, that's when we're going to go to Wonder Bread. After we done source our community first. Okay? Right. And there's a lot of black farmers. We actually have a list of black farmers, too, that we will be sourcing from to get some of our produce. But you have to understand, timing is everything. Timing is everything. And opening right now in the current economy,
not wise.
We have to be very strategic with this launch. Very strategic. A new supermarket will not be able to pay $20 for a carton of eggs and sell it for, whatever it costs right now. It just wouldn't be feasible. So the vision is still the vision, but we have to be very strategic, especially during what's going on right now with politics.
Right. Mm-hmm. Did you watch that Killer Mike's Netflix show? It was like 3 or 4 years ago.
I didn't. Please educate me.
I can't remember. I can't remember the name of it, but he was going around to black-owned. Well, trying to supply a store with nothing but black-owned products. So he's going around talking to like a black-owned soap distributor and educating us on this is a black-owned soap distributor. This is a black-owned toothpaste maker. This is black-owned.
I need to watch that.
They sell toilet paper, and you can fund have your entire house with nothing but black-owned products. So it's very educational, and it's similar to what you're talking about with Seneca markets.
Yeah.
So definitely Google it, because like I said, I can't remember the name of it. But
that's great. That's a great idea. Thank you. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And continuing with the grocery market talk, because like you said, I think access is usually a problem, like especially in the inner cities like the Bronx, when it comes to supermarkets and learning how to eat right and being able to afford to eat right, because eating right is very expensive.
It's almost a luxury.
Yeah.
It's almost like a luxury. Like, why does eating right have to be a luxury? I agree.
So is that something, because I know you mentioned growing your own food, which, like, I come from a family, my grandfather, would grow everything. We had a pecan tree in the yard, a plum tree in the yard, watermelon, strawberries, right across the street. But I think that educational facet, but just like how, especially in these inner cities, how can we improve, the lifestyle of our brothers and sisters?
Absolutely. So again, it would be, Seneca Market obviously being in the city, and because again, supermarkets are staple of the community. Everybody's going to go to the supermarket for one thing or another. So we're always going to be able to, try to reach them in that way. But I always feel like it's so important to go back into the schools. Like, it's so important to get the youth where they are now, or going into programs like the YMCA and things like that and speaking about food, because it's the parents who are feeding the kids, right? It's the parents who's unfortunately creating that generational curse of bodily diseases, because we are keeping the same eating habits, that our parents had. So, for example, when they say that, diabetes runs in the family, does it run in the family? Or is it really the eating habits that causes the diabetes that runs in the family? Because if we stop eating that way, I bet you wouldn't get the diabetes, right? It's kind of like that. So it's just really trying to get back to the parents, maybe through the students in the schools or through just different organizations that are already there. So if the town already has a YMCA or a Boys and Girls Club or something like that, those are the type of clubs that food educators would need to partner with to get to the families.
All right. So I think looking over your bio, and you mentioned you left a six-figure job in tech. Yeah, so I recently left a six-figure job in tech as well.
Oh, you said that.
Yeah, problem is I kind of have a wife. I have to explain stuff like that too.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
So like when you went through that process, did you look at it as far as I may be taking a step back now, but down the road I'm going to gain tremendously financially and as far as your time and happiness? Like what was your mindset when you made that decision?
My mindset was I need to bet on myself.
Uh-huh.
My mindset was just like I'm making this company millions of dollars, I can do that for myself. My mindset was they are using all my superpowers and I can do that for myself. My mindset was I know I'm making $108,000 here, but I can do that for myself. Was it scary? Absolutely. I went from 180,000 to like 30,000. But I was prepared, right? I call it calculated risks. So before I did that, I made sure I became a minimalist. A lot of us live above our means, and we're not really paying attention to that. There's a lot of things that we buy that we do not need. A lot of overspending. Like I'm the type of person that I didn't have credit card debt because I don't believe in credit card debt. I believe that if you do not have the money, then you shouldn't be spending the money, right? So whatever I had that was considered debt, I paid off first. Any frivolous spending, I made sure I stopped that, right? Because if I knew that I was going to start making $30,000, I just had to look to see what did I need to clear in order to live. And I think the number was like I needed to clear $4,000 a month, or something like three to $4,000 a month in order for all my bills to be paid. So from there, I'm like, okay, I just need to make sure that my business is clearing, at least $5,000 a month, and I know I'm gonna make it. And God got me. God got me. Like God's gonna get you when you are using your talents. You're not stealing someone else's ideas or someone else's talents. It's yours. So that means that idea was given to you by the Most High. You gotta foster it. It's your job to turn it into something. So when we stop being afraid and betting on ourselves, when we stop living in struggle and understand that joy is our birthright, we start betting on ourselves. When we understand that freedom and peace is the ultimate goal, we start betting on ourselves. Like right now, I'm a bi-coastal living entrepreneur. So that means that half the year, I live in Costa Rica, right? And that is freedom. That's freedom, right? And I had to work myself towards that. Like that's why I kept saying, I said it before, what is the anchor? What's the anchor? What's the why? What's the point of everything that you're doing? Like for me, it's always been freedom. Freedom being a mother. I used to hate asking my boss if I can leave work because my son is sick. What? I'm asking you to parent? Like I'm literally asking you to leave to be a parent. Get out of here. Or I had to ask, is it okay for me to leave early? My son has a basketball game that I need to attend. What? I'm not doing that. Nope.
Well, I already feel that way, but you gave me the extra juice.
Good. I'm glad.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So let's see, we've covered pretty much everything now except for, like you said, you did TV and you've hosted podcasts. You and your ensemble.
Yeah.
Like, how's all of that working out? I know. You even had a show out several years ago, like 5, 6 years ago.
Yes. So, the pandemic just like uprooted everything. But
Hmm.
the Think Like a Boss TV show, we had the podcast that did great as well, and we had the Think Like a Boss TV show that was on Cablevision, and now we are finally re-releasing the TV show. We're starting to film again on June 22nd, which I'm very excited about. We want to do a live audience, so if you are in the area, I would love for you to come. It's going to be June 22nd. It's going to be shot at Ironbound Studios in Newark,
Hmm.
New Jersey, which is one of the big studios in Newark. And it's going to be filming during the North to Shore events. I don't know if you heard of North to Shore. It's a big type of art type of festival. So since we have a live audience, we're going to open it up to the city so they can come in and sit down and watch the show or what have you. And again, the Think Like a Boss TV show follows the same premise. We want to hear from entrepreneurs that have success stories. We want to hear from change makers. We want to hear from people that are, shaking the table, just doing amazing things. So, yeah, that's what we're doing on June 22nd. It's the relaunch, and I'm just so excited about that. So excited.
All right, beautiful. What's something about you that people would find most surprising?
Something about me that people would
Find most surprising.
most surprising. Um, that's a great question. I think one thing that people still are surprised about is that I was born in Germany. So I was not born here. So that
Hmm.
is a thing. And I used to speak German when I was little, not anymore. I lost the language. Another thing that people find surprising is that I'm a martial artist. Like, I am a walking weapon at this point. And I have this, great smile, but don't play with me. So I'm like, don't try it. So I think that's another thing. Since I'm such a bubbly person, people don't understand that I am both a healer and a warrior at the same time. Um, so yeah, those two things. I don't think anything else that's fine surprising. Oh, I know another thing that people find surprising. I have a 20-year-old son. And I think people find that surprising because they think I'm so young and I'm 40
Uh-huh.
years old. So,
Right.
and every time I say I have a son, they're like, "Oh, how old is he?" I'm like, first of all, he's a grown man. He's 20, so I think a lot of people do find that surprising as well because I look so young. But I say that I look young because I live in joy.
Hmm.
Joy keeps us young. Joy keeps us young. Living the dream keeps us young. Exercise keeps us young. Eating healthy, again, I'm a vegan. It keeps us young. So, just so many different things.
I'm sure your son is embarrassed to bring you around his friends.
My
Because
son is not embarrassed to bring me around his friends.
I
And
say
that,
that I say that because a lot of people look at me and my mom and think we're brothers and sisters. So
oh, yes.
a lot of my friends will make comments after she leaves talking about, boy, your mama's fine and all
I
that. I'm
don't
like,
know. That's funny. I don't know if his friends do that. That's a good point. Do we get the brother sister thing? Yes, we get that a lot. His friends got used to me because I've always been around. Like,
hmm.
again, being an entrepreneur, I was present as hell. So that means I didn't miss any basketball games, no track meets, no nothing. I coached him in certain sports, so I didn't miss anything. So I was like the team mom. So
Right.
I think that part was able to be washed away because everybody knew who I was. However, when me and my son go to the mall or something, yeah, yeah, it's definitely brother sister vibes, definitely. And he's also like I'm a fashionista, and he's very much into fashion as well. So now we dress to a T. Now we just
Hmm.
look dope as hell, walking around the city and doing dope things, and people definitely think we're brother and sister, and it's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully he won't have to deal with the trauma that I deal with. But
Oh no, 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 no. He's fine. We're literally best friends. We're best friends.
right.
It's great.
What do you see when you look in the mirror?
What do I see when I look in the mirror? That's a great question. Oh my God. I see somebody that never gave up on her dreams. I see somebody that stands 10 toes down in who she is. I see somebody that is such an inspiration to the people around her. And I see somebody who, when it's her time to go, she did everything God told her to do.
Hmm. Okay. Do you learn more from your wins or your losses?
Hmm. That's a good question. I feel like I learn more from the journey. I feel like the lesson is like, it's from beginning to end. Because I can say, oh, I learned from the win, but what happened in order for that win to get here? Or I can say I learned from the loss, but what happened that made me lose? Right? So it's kind of like I look at everything as a whole. I look at everything from up here and kind of like pick my lesson from each moment. Oh, if this didn't happen, then this wouldn't happen, then this would have happened, then this would have happened. Like I like to look at things like throughout the journey.
Hmm.
If that makes sense.
Okay. Um, think like a lady, act like a man. How did you change it to think like a lady,
So
act like a boss?
that's a great question. So act like a lady, think like a boss was actually a play on that. Cause I was like, act like a lady, think like a man. Who wants to think like a man? Like when I first saw that, I was like, who said that? Who said that? I think our superpowers are that you guys think like men and we think like women, and I think that it's important for us to be in our divine feminine and our divine masculine. That's why I didn't think it made sense for me to be a woman to think like a man. I could be a woman and think like a boss. You know, that's a completely different thing, but I feel like men need to think like men and women need to think like women, and that's why we create different things, right? That's why we communicate differently. We just need to understand how to do that together. But I don't want to be like a woman thinking like a man, because that's going to take away from my feminine energy. I want to stay in my feminine energy, right? I want to be able to be an entrepreneur and a boss, but still do it in a way that a woman would do it. Finesse it in a way that a woman would finesse it. I don't need to think like a man in order to be successful. I could be successful in my feminine energy. So that's where that came from. And it was definitely a play off of that. Because I'm like, what? What is what?
Yep. Um, so what's next? I know we have, like you said, you're bringing the show back.
Mm-hmm.
The supermarket is coming once things simmer down with the economy.
Right, right.
You have another conference coming. Give us the dates on that.
Yeah.
Any more books coming soon? What's next?
I do want to write more books. I want to write a book on parenting, actually. I'm excited about that. You know, my son is grown now, and I would love to write a spiritual parenting book. A lot of our events also are moving into more of the spiritual space. I feel like our community just needs a lot of healing right now. There's a lot going on, and I want to bring more of the spiritual things into the space. I've also partnered up with a guy because I want to bring more men into the
Okay.
space. Like, y'all need some healing too. Like, we love
We
y'all. We
do.
love
We
y'all. We
do.
need y'all. And I think
We
that's
feel neglected.
yeah, that's something that we don't say as much. Like, we need men. We need y'all to step up. We need y'all to be whole. We need y'all to be healed. We need y'all to be heard. Right? So I partnered with a friend of mine. His name is Tobias Trevelyan. He's actually an actor. He's a well-known actor. But he's also a healer. So we do a lot of things in the healing space for both men and women. So we are trying to do another event, an outdoor event, maybe something at the beach for men and women in July, so that's also in the docket. And like you said, the supermarket, the TV show, and And yeah, our big event is in November, so we're trying to bring that back out. And again, just keeping the collective inspired, keeping the collective healed and heard. That's what basically what we're doing.
Okay. All right. So just give us a rundown of the socials, the website, where we can find you, the whole nine.
Absolutely. Please follow me at Think Like a Boss NJ on all platforms. Think Like a Boss NJ. I am on Instagram very often, so if you DM me, I try to get back to everyone. If I do not get back to you, just do it again. It probably got lost in a pile. But yeah, Think Like a Boss NJ on all platforms. On the website is actladythinkboss.com. That's where you can see all of our offerings, whether it is the joint event that I was just talking about that I had with my partner, or any of the retreats. Right now, the July retreat to Egypt is sold out, but we do have openings for Bali in September. And our new retreat for next year, our spiritual retreat to Peru, will be released soon. So keep an eye out on that. That's also where you can go and get business consulting or holistic coaching consulting if you need some healing. So yeah, all the things could be found on the website, actladythinkboss.com.
All right. If you have a parting shot, feel free to close us out with some inspirational words.
Yes, my inspirational word for you is to remember that dreams only work if you do. It's all on you, and you have to bet on yourself. Put the chip on you. Stop putting it on other people.
All right. Alexandra Bernard-Simmons, Think Like a Boss. ActLadyThinkBoss.com.
That's correct.
Thank you for your time today, sister.
Thank you so
much. It was fun. Had a good time.
Yes, it was.
All right. So, yeah, I should have my AI jersey on. I'm upset now.
You should have. Oh, man. I got to meet him, too. I got to meet him. I was so excited.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's still the same AI, it seems. Same Bubba Chuck.
He is a breath of fresh air. A breath of fresh air. It's like when you meet your favorite person and then they're so kind, and all he wanted to do was sit me down and put knowledge on me. And I thought that was just the most amazing thing ever. Like my 16-year-old self was so happy. So happy. Right. He was amazing. But yeah.
All right, so for Stop, Look, and Listen, yes. I'm your host, LeTroy Gardner. See you next week. Peace and blessings.